Susie Wiles says Trump has a, quote, alcoholic personality and will go for it whenever he sees an opportunity for retribution.
Uh-oh. Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, is in the news today after some exclusive interviews that she did with Vanity Fair have finally been released to the public, and it gives a deeper insight into the inner workings of the upper echelons of the White House than we have ever seen before. Wiles, a longtime Trump sycophant and ally, was quoted saying some pretty harsh things about President Trump and his closest allies, such as saying Trump has an alcoholic personality and craves retribution. She called J.D. Vance a complete conspiracy theorist, and she bashed Pam Bondi, saying that she blundered the Epstein files investigation completely, and that Trump is in them, by the way, and her deputy chief of staff called Stephen Miller a junkyard dog. So there is a whole lot to unpack with this story. This whole piece is full of absolute gold, and the right is just jumping up out of their chairs to defend Wiles after this insane release, and she is claiming that the quotes were taken out of context, but Vanity Fair did record the interviews, so we'll have to see about that. But be sure to stick around until the end of the video to hear all about it and see some amazing reactions from online. And do us here a favor, leave a like on the video, comment down below, and subscribe to the Raw America channel. It really is the best and easiest way to show your support. Okay, let's jump in. All right, so I've pulled some of the best parts from the piece, so we'll go through them bit by bit. Let's start with the most dense chunk here at the beginning, where the article writer Chris Whipple emphasizes that Wiles was very receptive to his questions and answered them all. All right, the article reads, "We often spoke on Sunday afternoons after church. Wiles, an Episcopalian, calls herself Catholic Light, in quotes. I love that. One time we spoke while she was doing her laundry in her Washington, D.C. rental. Trump, she told me, has an alcoholic personality." Okay, all right, let's pause. Let's pause right there. Alarm bells, right? That should be alarm bells ringing, because alcoholic personality? The chief of staff of the President of the United States says that he has an alcoholic personality. Now, thank God Trump famously is not a drinker. He just happens to act like one and treats people like one and has the personality of one. Oh, now the Pete Hegseth hire is making so much more sense. Birds of a feather. Now, Trump has addressed this specific point already. The New York Post reported that Trump is quoted saying, "No, she meant that you see, I don't drink alcohol, so everybody knows that. But I've often said that if I did, I'd have a very good chance of being an alcoholic. I respect the honesty, I suppose. I have said that many times about myself. I do. It's a very possessive personality," Trump said. He then later said, quote, "I've said that many times about myself. I'm fortunate I'm not a drinker. If I did, I could very well, because I've said that," what's the word? Not possessive. Possessive and addictive type personality. Oh, I've said it many times before. This is just like a side note here, but reading and seeing Trump like typed out and just how he talks just gives me a stroke trying to look at it. He talks like no one else I've ever seen before in my entire life. Truly in his own breed of being the most jumbled talker of all time. Trump is also quoted saying, "I didn't read it, but I don't read Vanity Fair. But she's done a fantastic job." And he also told the Post, "I think from what I hear, the facts were wrong and it was very misguided interviewer. Purposefully misguided." The Vanity Fair article then continues saying, "Vance's conversion from never Trumper to MAGA acolyte, she said, has been sort of political. The vice president," she added, "has been a conspiracy theorist for a decade." That's so funny. She's just like, yeah, he switched his ideals because it was politically viable for him to do so, and he's just a huge conspiracy theorist and has been for practically a decade. She's just bashing the vice president into this random Vanity Fair reporter and just thought that that would be okay. Like, what are you thinking? It's just, it's too good. But J.D. Vance, in crisis defense mode, did respond to the article in a speech saying this. Take a look.
If Susie... I'll trust what you said. I haven't looked at the article. I, of course, have heard about it. But conspiracy theorist, sometimes I am a conspiracy theorist, but I only believe in the conspiracy theories that are true.
Okay, JD, sure. But what conspiracies is she talking about here? Brian Krasenstein on Twitter reacted to the clip saying, "Breaking, J.D. Vance. Sometimes I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I only believe in the conspiracy theories that are true. Like when you said Trump was America's Hitler. Oops, never mind. That wasn't a conspiracy theory." Yeah, J.D. Vance's ideals are as flimsy as a block of Jell-O, right? He can just mush them away. It doesn't really matter to him. But what else does J.D. Vance believe? I mean, he's pretty keyed into the online right, and they believe some pretty wild things. So very interesting information out of Wiles there. J.D. even then continues to defend her character after this bombshell, saying,
"You know why I really love Susie Wiles? Because Susie is who she is in the president's presence. She's the same exact person when the president isn't around. I've never seen Susie Wiles say something to the president and then go and counteract him or subvert his will behind the scenes. And that's what you wanted a staffer. And Susie Wiles, we have our disagreements. We agree on much more than we disagree, but I've never seen her be disloyal to the President of the United States, and that makes her the best White House chief of staff that I think the president could ask for.
Yeah, he's basically saying she's loyal to Trump. That's all that matters. And J.D. Vance would know that well himself, as he was once a very vocal critic of President Trump, and now he is nothing more than his lapdog, because Trump values loyalty above all else, and if you are loyal to him, then he'll be kind to you. Wiles also called Russell Vought a right-wing absolute zealot, which is extremely the exact kind of thing you want to hear about the guy who is literally structuring the policy-making decisions for the President of the United States and his cabinet, so that's cool. In another part of the article, Wiles talks about Elon Musk, and she says this, quote, "He is a complete solo actor," said Wiles of Trump's billionaire pal who led the scorched earth blitz known as the Department of Government Efficiency. Wiles described Musk as something akin to a jacked up Nosferatu. "The challenge with Elon is keeping up with him," she told me. "He's an avowed ketamine user, and he sleeps in a sleeping bag in the EOB, Executive Office Building, in the daytime, and he's an odd duck, as I think geniuses are. You know, it's not helpful, but he is his own person." I cannot believe she just flat out says this. Now, this is kind of an open secret about Elon Musk that he uses ketamine, and she has since retracted her statement on this after the piece came out, saying that's ridiculous. I wouldn't have said it then, and I wouldn't know. But she was then fact-checked by the exact reporter who has a recording of her saying that exact thing. She also has criticized the deportation practices of the Trump administration, saying they should lean towards a double-check procedure for most of their cases, but they have just been shipping people off. And when pressed about a child who was deported who has stage 4 cancer, she, quote, couldn't explain it. I mean, I see a very clear explanation. Your boss is psychotic, and so are you. She also critiques and completely goes against Trump's narrative on pardoning all the Jan 6 rioters, saying, "I did exactly that." Wiles said, "I said, I'm on board with the people that were happenstancers or didn't do anything violent, and we certainly know that everybody did because the FBI has done such an incredible job." Well, Trump actually said that the FBI investigators were corrupt and part of the deep state, but okay, moving on. Trump then argued that even the violent offenders had been unfairly treated. Wiles explained, well, in every case of the ones I was looking at, in every case, they had already served more time than the sentencing guidelines would have suggested. So given that, I sort of got on board. However, according to the court records, many of the January 6th rioters that were pardoned by Donald Trump had received sentences that were actually lighter than the guidelines would have suggested. So also not true there. She then adds, there have been a couple of times where I've been outvoted, and if there's a tie, he wins. God, I love this article. I love it. I love it so much. I love all the fact checks. I love that Vanity Fair did just such a good job with this piece, and I cannot believe how forward and upfront Wiles has been for this entire thing. She really spilled all the beans, and now she is completely backpedaling, saying this on her Twitter. The tweet reads, "The article published early this morning is a disingenuinely framed hit piece on me and the finest president, White House staff, and cabinet in history." She then argues that significant context was disregarded from what she said, and that the truth is that the Trump White House has already accomplished more in 11 months than any other president, blah, blah, blah. Then she goes on about how amazing Donald Trump is. That's no different from anyone else who has sucked up to him for the past few years. But I really wonder, what was the context? Right? The reporter has the footage, and I would love to see it, and I don't really know how you could context your way out of some of those quotes. And this is just the backpedal of the century, and I'm not sure exactly what she was thinking. You said all of this, Wiles. You were talking to a reporter. These are your words as the chief of staff of the White House, who many consider to be the most important position in the entire White House behind the president himself. It is just too good, and like clockwork, Daddy made a phone call, and every single White House staff member is out publicly defending her, just getting ahead of the very obvious negative press that is coming their way because, yeah, it doesn't look too good. And my personal favorite part of this article, the pictures. The pictures! It wouldn't be a Vanity Fair article without the pictures. Known for their intimate profiles and their sexy angles and really making celebrities look great and their best. And here we have J.D. Vance, Stephen Miller, and their entire goon squad having an evil mid-off. J.D. looks like a complete and utter fool. Fascist Stephen Miller looks like he's trying to be sexy, which makes it even all the more comedic that he actually looks like a chronically depressed and unloved Lex Luthor. And just the entire gang posing like they're the fucking Kardashians, when in reality they're a bunch of no good, sweaty, elite losers who claim that they hate this old traditional media, they hate the press, it's all fake news, and yet here they are posing like the racist Avengers for Vanity Fair. These people have no spine, right? They're all bark and no bite. They shout fake news this, fake news that, and then they pose for a photo op for Vanity Fair, only to make them look like absolute ghouls and goblins, and then the piece is about their chief of staff shitting on all of them. And by the way, in that group photo, Marco Rubio looks like he's about to shit his pants, and he's just playing it really cool. It truly doesn't get any better than that. Representative Ro Khanna tweeted earlier today thanking Wiles for being so candid, saying, "Thank you for being so candid," at Susie Wiles after this press release came out, and I think that's how we should all feel right now. Just happy that we got some great honesty out of Susie on this, because now we know so much more, and we can just see this public backtracking and backpedaling from all of these ghouls. It's just absolutely amazing to watch. But I think that's going to do it for me for this video. Thank you so much for sticking around until the end. I really do appreciate it. If you like this video or want to see more like it, be sure to leave a like down below. Comment what you think about this insane article and Susie Wiles absolutely spilling the beans on everything. And don't forget to subscribe to the Raw America channel. It really is the best way to show your support, and it's super easy. Just click the button down below. All right, thanks and have a nice day.